Okay, in this video I'd like to discuss again our weighted scoring for this semester. We talked about this in class last week, but I wanted to re-emphasize this and also make this video so that you can come back and reference it at another time. Let's keep in mind that for the semester this year, first semester this year, we're using weighted scoring. And I've got some examples to illustrate how weighted scoring is going to look in this particular class. As you recall, there are three types of assignments that I'm asking you to complete in your Algebra 2 class. We've got Math Excel work, we've got Khan Academy work, and then we also have tests and quizzes. Let's say that for Math Excel work in this particular unit, that there are 4 assignments out there for you to complete. So if there are 4 assignments for you to complete, then that means that there are 400 points that are available. We get 100 points for each, because I report the percentage scores. And let's say on the first assignment you scored a 90%, and on the second one you scored a 92, and on the third one you scored an 86, and then on the fourth one you just ran out of time and you only earned 25% on it. Well, if I were to add these 4 percentage scores together, I would end up with 293 points out of a possible 400 for that group. And I'll show you what to do with that in just a moment. Similarly, we have Khan Academy assignments to complete, and as you recall, you earn 4 points for a perfect score on each exercise, each practice assignment. And I'm going to award 5 points for each video that's watched in completion or to completion. So to make things easy, let's just say that there are 400 points again available in the Khan Academy assignments, and let's say you complete 325 of those by the deadline. Some combination of exercise scores and videos watched added up to 325. So we're just going to copy that fraction again for our next calculation. For tests and quizzes, I don't know what I'll assign for this first unit, probably very few, if any, but in successive units, let's say that I give tests and quizzes that account for 130 points, and you've earned 95 of those points on each of those attempts when you add them together. Well, on account of the weighted scoring, we must apply those weights to these scores, these cumulative scores. So if you recall from our discussion on day 1, I said that your Math Excel assignments would account for 30% of your overall grade, and your Khan Academy assignments would account for 30% of your overall grade. Your tests and quizzes, therefore, would represent 40% of your overall grade. 30 plus 40 is 100%. Now, just to be abundantly clear with the math here, 293 divided by 400 is 0.7325. I did that with a calculator off screen. And we'll need to multiply that decimal by 30%. 325 divided by 400 is 0.8125. And again, I did that off screen. And we'll need to multiply 40% times the result of 95 divided by 130, which is 0.7308. And 0.3 times 0.7325 is 0.2198 when rounded. 0.3 times 0.8125 is 0.2438 when rounded. And 0.4 times 0.7308 is 0.2923. If we add those 3 components together, the sum total of these decimals comes out to 0.7559. So as a percentage, this would show up as 75.59%, and all of my percentages get rounded up to the nearest whole number, and so I would call this a 76% average for that unit. Now, hopefully that doesn't seem too far-fetched. I mean, if you had a 73% average on your Math Excel, an 81% average on your Khan Academy, and then a 73% average on your tests, then I think a 76% average overall for the unit would be pretty realistic. And if you'd like to see a bigger picture of how this might look as we get closer to the end of the semester, well, here are some numbers that I put together. In this first unit, well, these are the same numbers as before. So the same averages on Khan Academy, Math Excel, and your test score. I just entered these decimals into a spreadsheet that automatically calculates my final scores for me. And so there's that 76%. At the top of this box, I'm reminding myself that homework accounts for 30% and test scores account for 40% of your overall score. So the 30% applies to Khan and Math Excel, whereas the test average, of course, just comes from the test scores. So let's say as the semester progresses, you start to improve. After this first unit, you recognize exactly what it'll take to give yourself enough time to complete each of these tasks. And your Khan Academy scores might look something like this on the left-hand side. You improve to an 85, slip down to a 75, and so on. And we saw some improvements towards the end of the semester. For your Math Excel grades, we see the same thing. We start to see some improvement, a bit of a drop, and then more improvement still until the end, and again, a bit of a drop at the very end of your Math Excel scores. Here are some potential test scores as the units progress. And with each row, I've calculated the row's average, and those averages would represent your unit scores. These averages on the far right-hand side represent your unit scores. When it comes time to end the quarter and I report grades for the quarter, let's say we've only finished these first 3 units within the quarter. Well, then your overall score would be an average of these averages. And that would mean adding together these scores, so 76 plus 82 plus 83, and since there are 3 units, that would be, we're just going to find the average, so we'll add those 3 together and divide by 3. So 76 and 82 and 83 adds up to 241. 241 divided by 3 is equal to an 80.3% average, which again I'll round to the nearest whole number. We'll call that an 80%, which will go into our grade book as a B. If we complete the remaining units by the end of the semester, which I think is entirely possible. The beginning of the semester might be just a slow start for us. It's entirely possible that we finish 5 units during the second half of the semester or during the second quarter. So we again would add together these averages. For our second quarter, we're looking at the average of those 5 scores. If I were to add together those scores, I'd end up with 443 divided by 5 is 88.6, which would round to an 89% B again. Now you might be asking yourself, but Mr. Ehrman, I showed improvement. I've got a couple A's in the units. Do I really end up with a B for the quarter? And my answer would be yes. But let's keep in mind one thing as well. These Khan Academy and Math Excel assignments, every single one of them could possibly be a perfect 100 score. All that takes is a little bit of time and effort, because all of those assignments can be completed and recompleted until a perfect score is earned. All you have to do is give yourself enough time to complete those again until you improve your score, and with those being a score of 100, you'll dramatically see an increase in your overall grades for the quarters. If you have any further questions, please let me know. You can send me an email or a message through Schoology, and I'll try to clarify and add to it wherever I can. Thanks for watching.